think there was going to be baseball tonight. Are you kidding me? With all the rain, we boated our way into the ballpark. The Rockies and Giants getting set, and we think the rain has moved on out. Tonight, the rubber game of this three-game set between Colorado and San Francisco. And good afternoon, everybody. We just shut down our umbrella a couple of moments ago with Jeff Houston. I'm Drew Goodman. The Rockies fell last night 9-8 to the Giants, an entertaining ball game. The Rockies had 17 hits, but came up a couple of runs shy of a victory. The middle of the order, very productive. A couple guys by the name of Pacheco and Nelson, 6 hits, and Cargo swung the bat.
Yeah, if you think back to spring training, there's only one guy in this middle of the lineup that you said is in the right spot, and that would be Carlos Gonzalez hitting third. Not many people thought Willeen Rosario had hit fourth, Pacheco fifth, Nelson sixth. But last night, 10 for 20, 2 doubles, 4 RBIs, 4 runs scored. Pacheco had 3 hits. Chris Nelson had 3 hits. I mean, these guys just keep rolling. And Pacheco is hitting .310. That leads all rookies. Chris Nelson hitting .500 the last 4 games, and since the All-Star break, hitting over .300. So those guys getting regular playing time, doing what you hope they would do. They're growing each and every day that we get a chance to watch them.
And Cargo had a double last night. We know he's been scuffling a little bit, puts a lot of pressure on himself. One of the great talents in the game. I thought the biggest swing of the bat was when he went to the opposite field late in the ball game.
Yeah, there was a ball that was up and away from him, and he took it that way instead of getting out in front and rolling over with the top wrist.
Yeah, that was good to see. When we come back, we'll talk about the 9th inning man for the Rockies. He's kind of fallen beneath the radar a little bit. And they are leading the division by 6+ as they get ready to take on the Rockies tonight. Rockies looking to do something nobody's done against the Giants in the second half, and that's win a road series. In other words, the road series for the Giants have been very good since the All-Star break. They haven't lost one in their last 8 that they've encountered. I want to talk about Rafael Betancourt, because in a season where the record is not what the Rockies want, you almost forget about what he's done in the ninth inning. He's been terrific.
Yeah, 28 for 33 in save opportunities. And you think back to the month of August, he had 9 saves. That was the third most, in the major leagues. And for a guy that's not getting regular work, so he doesn't know when he's going to be out there. Is it going to be 3 or 4 days in a row? But the way it's been for the Rockies this year, it's been sporadic. But he has handled his end of the bargain. For a guy that is learning, and I say learning in the right way, to be a closer, because he's never done it on a regular basis in his career before.
But he's always been one of the premier setup men in baseball. Well, Jim Wright, who's been the bullpen coach for a long time and now is the pitching coach for the relievers, he spoke about what Rafael means to this ball club.
His professionalism and the way he prepares every day does rub off on everyone. They see a guy like him that's had, I think this is 9th or 10th year in the bullpen. And to make a transition to closer at this stage in his career is also, a testimony to his preparedness. And I think that the others feed off of that.
I think absolutely others feed off of it. Matt Belisle is fed off of it. Those two guys are like, I was kidding Matt the other day, they're like Mutt and Jeff, because you usually see them together.
And they always play catch together. But what we notice every single day is the band work that Rafael does. And I noticed yesterday, Drew Pomeranz grabbed that after Rafael did it, and he did some of the same exercises. So you're getting the young guys to learn from a veteran.
Absolutely. He's a good guy to learn from. Rafael has been sensational this year. The Rockies and Giants are ready to go. The rain, we hope, is completely moved out. It'll be Jeff Francis and Tim Lincecum. Come on back to Coors Field with us. Stores, Toyota moving forward by CenturyLink, fast speed and a low monthly price. Visit CenturyLink.com. And by Southwest Airlines, find our fares online only at Southwest.com. Well, the skies have cleared a little bit. Guess who's wearing the microphone tonight? It's Wednesday. Josh Rutledge is putting on our wireless mic, so we'll hear from him throughout the ball game. Jim Tracy will join us in the middle innings. Gregor Blanco is going to lead things off. Angel Pagan's going to get the first part of the evening off. Blanco's playing center field for Pagan, and he'll be followed in Bruce Bochy's lineup by Marco Scutero naturally. Marco's 4 for 9 in the series. Buster Posey will move up one spot. He'll bat third. He'll play first base tonight. Then Hunter Pence, Joaquin Arias at third for Sandoval. Brandon Belton left field. Hector Sanchez behind the plate. Brandon Crawford will bat eighth and play short. First pitch of the ball game. Strike one from Jeff Francis, who's 5-4 with a 5.38 ERA. This ball is belted toward the gap in right center field. Extra bases for Blanco, and he's going to have a triple easily. Tell you what, you don't see this often. He was able to round third, and Tim Flannery was still making a decision as to whether to send him. Well, he was already halfway to third by the time Dexter picked up the baseball.
Yeah, fifth triple on the season for Blanco, and it tells you the speed that he has. He split the gap in right center field. Dexter Fowler was off over into the left center field gap with left on left matchup. Blanco head down the whole way looking at Tim Flannery. He's, oh, hold up. If that ball had kicked away somewhere else and it wasn't a clean relay, he was going to send him.
Marco Scutaro is driven in 58. Obviously a very good opportunity for him to drive in number 59. The Giants now leading the Rockies in triples in the National League. They have the most triples and the fewest homers. And a base hit, and it's 1-0 San Francisco. Marco has driven in his 59th run.
His 29th run for the Giants.
In not a lot of ball games. I mean, his RBIs per game played for the Giants suggests he hits third or fourth, not second.
Numbers on Jeff Francis this year: 5-4, a 5.38 ERA. 7 strikeouts was a season high for him in Philadelphia, and he used that curveball effectively. And for Jeff tonight, it's going to be get to the fastball, but the curveball, he's getting a lot more strikeouts with the curveball. Last year, it was right around 50%. Now it's much higher than that.
That pitch in there for a strike. Buster Posey at the plate, hitting .500 against the Rockies this year. And in his career, he's hitting .410 at Coors Field. It's 3 for 4 with a home run lifetime against Francis. And Jeff changes speeds nicely, 0-2. It's been a good series for Buster Posey. It's been a good second half for Buster Posey. Heck, it's been a good year overall for the former Florida State star.
Yeah, that's why he was an all-star this year for the first time, because of his ability to hit and play catcher, first base, wherever Bruce Bochy needs him. Tonight he's at first.
Cutters in 1-2. Scutaro now has 29 ribbies in 44 ball games with the Giants. It's being traded from Colorado. Buster hitting .369 since August 1st. 9 points ahead of Dexter Fowler for the best mark in the National League. 2-2.
And this has been the inning this year for Jeff Francis. The first inning, he has an ERA of .995. He's given up 7 home runs, batting average against a .386. It all goes down from the second inning on, just a .293 batting average against. So 100-point drop.
Posey lines it to center. Here comes Dexter. He's got to field it on a hop. That's a triple and 2 singles to begin things for the Giants. Nobody out. Hunter Pence will come up.
Well, that's not a list you want to be on.
Well,
but the guy, the guy he's going up against tonight, Tim Lincecum, has had his struggles. A 7.76 ERA in the first inning. And you've seen pitchers have problems in the first. They're trying to translate what was going on in the bullpen. The mound's out there. They try to match them up to what the mounds are out on the field, but sometimes they don't get that right. You're finding that release point. I mean, Tom Glavine was a prime example. The first inning was difficult for him.
Hunter Pence swings and misses tonight for Jeff. As you look at Pence, 2 for 9 in the series with a home run. For Jeff Francis, it is career start number 200. He has one appearance in his career out of the bullpen. .54 degrees our game time temperature. I know on Monday, standing around the batting cages, we were sweating profusely. I mean, it was hot. But it's Colorado, and tonight feels an awful lot like autumn.
The other thing is the rains have gone away. This morning you're wondering, would there be a game tonight as hard as it was raining and the constant steady pour?
That's the amazing thing about these modern fields. They drain so well, and the grounds crew of Mark Razum did a terrific job. Jeff able to spear it. You're going to get one. That's Rutledge on the bag. Let's look at the Rockies defense. Cargo, Dexter, and Colvin in the outfield. Now in the infield, Nelson and Pacheco on the corners, but the Rockies will have Herrera at short and Rutledge playing the position that is in his future. That's second base. Willeen Rosario doing the catching. First and third, one out for Joaquin Arias.
Hopefully the guys up the middle will have a chance to turn a couple double plays to see the turns and the feeds from Josh at second. Second start this year at second base, but he has plenty of games down at Double-A. Of course, I like to say the veteran now, Jonathan Herrera, and his experience playing shortstop.
I'll tell you a neat stat about Johnny after this pitch. We'll tell you right now, when Herrera starts at shortstop this year, the Rockies are 16-11. For a club that is 27 games beneath 500, that's pretty impressive.
Well, just 3 errors for Jonathan Herrera, and you know he's going to give you the quality at bats, do everything that he needs to do to find a way to win.
Right now, Jeff Francis needs a double play ball. A run in for the Giants, first and third, and one out. Where Jeff's experience cannot be overstated. Understanding Coors Field, understanding not to panic. You give up one or two, it's not.
Limit the damage.
You're very much in the ball game. Your club typically is going to score plenty of runs.
Well, 170 starts of those 200 have been with the Rockies. So he knows pitching at Coors Field.
1-2 the count on Arias. Came into the ball game late yesterday for Sandoval defensively. Scudero at third. Pence, who runs well, is at first. Bochy start Pence here to stay out of the double play.
Not a 1-2, because if you get to strike him out, you could have the strikeout throw out, because Pence, if he doesn't go on first movement, is going to have to wait to see how high the leg kick is before he could take off. He only has 5 stolen bases. Now, if it gets to 2-2 or 3-2, then I would say yes.
One and two on Arias. Ground ball through the left side, a base hit. 2-0 San Francisco. 32nd RBI for Joaquin Arias.
Jeff got him to hit it on the ground, just not at somebody. Went to the 5-6 hole. Chris Nelson in double play depth. I just can't defend that one. Scuro trots in.
Brandon Belt drove in 4 last night. He had an opposite field 2-run double just out of the reach of Carlos Gonzalez. That proved to be the difference in the ball game. Rockies fell 9-8.
But then the home run that he hit off of Escalona.
Two-strike count on Belt. Curveball, did he go?
Yes, he did. Nope. He didn't even ask.
Home plate umpire is Angel Campos. Ted Barrett at first, Tim McClelland at second, Eric Cooper is at third.
See, does his barrel go past that line? Nope. A lot of body. It looked like it up here, but the hands kept the bat barrel going that distance.
Two and two. Last 4 starts have been good ones for Jeff. 22 pitches into this first inning.
In 3 out of his last 4 starts, he's allowed 1 earned run or less.
The Giants scoring runs on the road has become familiar for their fans. The Giants, by way of their 9 runs last night, now have scored the most road runs per game in baseball. They've moved ahead of the Angels. Swung on and missed. And Francis has struck out Brandon Belt. 2 gone. And that will bring up Hector Sanchez.
Mike Shaw Subaru Supermo. It's just a 4-seam fastball, and that is the definition of getting underneath the hands. Belt tried to pull both elbows close to his side to help the bat get through there, but he was tied up. You know, the Giants averaging 5.23 runs per game out on the road now.
Hector Sanchez, the switch hitting catcher. Slow hook for a strike.
Jeff's going to need to utilize that in the game tonight because the command of the fastball has not been there early.
Tries to cut the fastball in, and that's the pitch he's missed with here in the first inning.
And we've already seen him miss 6 or 7 times with that cut fastball to the right-hander. So use the curveball to get back to that once you feel that release point and make it look like a strike coming out of the hand.
Campos calls that a strike, and it's 1-2.
Throwing the big curveball.
That's what he did. And this ball's in the air to left. It's going to drop. Another run's going to score. Pence coming home. And it's 3-0. Hector Sanchez hit one off the end of the bat, just kind of lobbed it out there to left field. His 32nd RBI, and the 8th man to hit in the first inning will be Brandon Crawford.
Already 5 hits for the Giants. Notice how Hector Sanchez goes down and even takes his back foot. Look at this back foot. It's off the ground when he makes contact.
Who does that every once in a while is Tulowitzki.
Well, it helps you get some balance where you can go down to get a pitch.
Crawford takes a strike.
Frank Thomas used to hit like that occasionally, where that back foot would come off the ground when he hit. But you have to have some strong forearms to do it.
24 first inning runs allowed by Jeff Francis now.
And the next pitch will be number 30.
Which again almost guarantees that Jeff's going to have certainly no more than a 5-inning outing, but he's going to have some short innings to get to that situation. 1 and 2.
And the hybrid tonight is Adam Ottavino. 2 guys down are Moscoso and Carlos Torres. Everybody else available in the bullpen.
The Freak is on deck. Off his foot. It's funny, last night as I was leaving, Tim Lincecum was heading the other direction, heading out and leaving, and if you walk past him on the street, in terms of occupation, professional athlete would be far down the list if you were to guess what he did for a living.
Or a 4-time All-Star or 2-time Cy Young Award winner.
Yeah, great professional athlete.
Yeah.
Now, lead singer in a band, that would be
in a rock band.
Yeah, that'd probably be up near the top of your offerings. Here's the 1-2, and this ball is pulled into the corner. This is going to be in trouble, and chasing it is Colvin. 2 runs are going to score here. Sanchez coming all the way home. And it gets away for a moment. It's a 2-run double for Crawford, and now the Giants have put up a 5 spot in the first inning, and Sanchez is hurting.
Rosario attempted to block home and drop the leg and shoulder into Sanchez. Nothing dirty about it. He was just trying to keep him as the ball was coming in from trying to score. Brandon Crawford hanging, breaking pitch. He stays through it, and he's been hitting left-handers since July 1st at over 440 clip. Now here's the play at home plate. Knee right into the chest. Might have lost the wind, knocked the wind out of him. And that is a prime example of why you don't go head first into home. Because of that left knee from Rosario, he was trying to block the plate. If you go in head first, that knee goes into your shoulder, it dislocates it, you're done.
5 runs in the inning, 6 hits, and Tim Lincecum at the plate. Rockies have been out in the field for almost 20 minutes. One and 2 on Lincecum. Tim hit it just 100. Somebody's got to step up tonight and hit a home run to keep the pitcher's home run streak intact. Alex White went deep on Monday, and then Madison Bumgarner went deep for the Giants yesterday. It's all on the shoulders of the 175-pound Lincecum and the 6'5" Jeff Francis. Boy, it's a tough first inning for Jeff. He's going to make at least 5 pitches to Lincecum. He's thrown 36 pitches here in the first inning.
Yeah, and I'm surprised nobody's not even up tossing into the bullpen.
On the ground to second. 5 runs, 6 hits for the Giants in inning number 1.
Let's go. I don't know, it's been raining all day. I guess that's it.
Josh Rutledge has a wireless mic on. We appreciate him wearing it. The Giants have created a pretty sizable hill for the Rockies to climb. Tim Lincecum will be on the hill tonight. Dexter Fowler will lead things off for the Rockies, second in the National League in on-base percentage to Buster Posey. He's at .396. The Southwest batting order for Jim Tracy will feature Rutledge in the 2-hole. Cargo will bat third. Willeen Rosario, George Pacheco, Colvin, who had a pinch hit home run last night. Chris Nelson, who had 3 hits last night. Johnny Herrera, Jeff Francis. Well, Lincecum, like Francis, has struggled in the first inning.
Yeah, we showed that graphic. ERA over 7. 7 walks did Lincecum have in his last start against the Dodgers. That was a career high. On pace for another 200 strikeouts this year. Prior to the All-Star break, he was 3-10 with the 642 cents. He's 5-4 with the 322. Fastball 52% of the time. Slider, changeup, curveball. The thing with his fastball this year compared to other years is the velocity is down. Last year, 32% of the time he had a fastball over 93 miles an hour. This year, 1.6% of the time fastball over 93. So you're going to see a lot of 90s and 91s tonight. That doesn't make the slider, the split, or the changeup as devastating.
Interesting stat. Here's the 0-1 on Dex. He's pitched better, as the numbers you tossed out there would suggest, but he's not been nearly as dominant as we saw him really the first few years. Last year there were some hiccups. He was 1-6 at one point this year with a 9 ERA on the road. That was through his first 10 road starts. Over his last 4, he's 4-0 with a 2.16.
And even though his record was 500 last year, his ERA was below 3. The batting average against tells you why, but the 78 walks for him, that's second most in the National League. Edison Volquez has 100. He leads the NL.
Yeah, you know, for all the stuff that was thrown around last year, what's the matter with Lincecum? He gets a strikeout of Fowler. I mean, on that graphic, the league hit just 217 against him, and he has had a 275 ERA. To further illustrate your point, this year it's almost double that, and the batting average is up 42 points.
The ERA by month has dropped, and it's like the numbers he had last year, because he went through that rough spell and rebounded. And Lincecum is still a competitor, but it helps when you have a Matt Cain, a Madison Bumgarner, those type of guys on your staff. So even when Lincecum's struggling, so he's not the number 1, he's the number 3 or 4 now.
And he gets the ground ball to short. Crawford will throw out Rutledge. 2 outs. Well, Tim Lincecum was wearing a bracelet on his glove hand, and I kind of reflected a little bit. Jim Tracy came out and asked a home plate umpire, Angel Campos, to have him remove it.
Nothing wrong with that. It's not gamesmanship or anything else. It's, you're not allowed to have it. It's written in the rule books. You can't have anything that will distract the hitter.
Cargo takes a strike, hitting almost 300 in his career matchups with Lincecum. 37 at bats, 297 average. He has a couple home runs, driven 7 in against him. 2 for 5 and a ribby last night. Oopsie.
Just didn't reach up high enough.
The pitch back, though, almost sent it all the way to Lincecum. Did you have a pitch back when you were growing up?
I did. They still make them, too. We had this discussion earlier this year. And Doug looked that up. Still made.
2 and 1.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. But the red target, you know, the ribbon that was the red target, that didn't last too long.
No, and I hate when I missed and hit the springs.
Yeah, and then it went through and went into the next yard. 2-1 on Cargo. He fouls it off. 2 and 2. The Giants have Brandon Belt in left field, making just his second start in left field. Gregor Blanco for Pagan in center. Hunter Pence naturally is in right. Joaquin Arias in third. Crawford, Scudero, Posey, Hector Sanchez with the gear on. Here's the 2-2. Feeling better after taking that shot to the chest.
It was not only the knee, it was the shin guard. Drove into that chest cavity.
Well, Cargo had a great first half. He was an all-star, and deservedly so. July was pretty solid at 295. August was tough, 222 average, and you see the power numbers down. And I know some people, you know, some sabermetricians say it's a myth. The guy hitting behind you doesn't have an effect on you, but I beg to differ.
It does.
Absolutely, it does. When you're talking about a young player hitting behind you versus a guy like Troy Tulowitzki, you get in a key situation. We've said it many times. There's no way the opposition's going to let 5 beat them.
Or they'll get a different pitch than they would get if he was hitting behind them.
Right. Carlos will walk to first with 2 outs, and that'll bring up the guy hitting behind him tonight, Willeen Rosario, who has 23 home runs and has driven in 60. Who wants tacos? When the Rockies do score 7 or more, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 and get your Rockies taco special. I hope you did it earlier today.
Remember when Jeff Kent was asked if it mattered who was hitting behind him when Bonds, and he said no, but it was more of an ego thing with Jeff Kent.
Wow. Jeff Kent was a great player. That's a balk. I mean, his spikes tripped, and that's a balk on Lincecum. Like a spike caught. Those were 2 interesting guys, and that made for a very interesting clubhouse, shall we say, in San Francisco. Kent and Bonds.
No, he slipped with his push-off foot, his right foot. That's why he elected not to throw the baseball.
inside. Ball one on Willeen. That's a strike. This is fresh off the Doug Marino press. Tim Lincecum, when given 5 runs of support in his career, is 33-0. Well, he's got to lose at some point in time, right?
That's right.
Time now for tonight's Chevy's Dare to Compare. Chevy Silverado, the longest lasting, most dependable truck on the road. Chevy made for Colorado. Most ribbies by a Rockies rookie. Tulowitzki, 1 RBI shy of 100 in his freshman season. Help Garrett Atkins and then Willeen Rosario. And Rosario's going to drive in a run here. That thing ricocheted off the third base umpire, Eric Cooper. And that's RBI number 61 for Willeen, and that balk ends up hurting Lincecum as Cargo scores.
What's up with Eric Cooper? That's 2 times in this 3-game series that he's been hit with the baseball.
Check his pocket for magnets.
He got hurt on the ball on the first base line, and this one is a rocket off the bat of Willeen Rosario. 61st RBI. That ball was just chasing him. He didn't know which way to move. Well, that's 61 RBIs for Rosario. Puts him in second behind Todd Frazier in rookie RBIs. Frazier had 62 going into tonight's game.
Ball one on Jordan Pacheco. Jordan leading all rookies while we're on the subject with that .310 average, and nobody's really close to him.
Well, and Rosario leads in home runs with 23. Bryce Harper's next closest with 18.
Next best batting average for rookies, the Cubs' Anthony Rizzo. And Nori Aoki and Frazier. Not leading the big leagues because of that fellow Mike Trout. 2-0 pitch is down. It's 3-0. And now Lincecum moving into the mid-20s, Jeff, and pitches here in the first inning.
It's nice to see to at least put a marker back on the board after you've given up a 5 spot in the top half of the inning.
Yeah, you never want to go in order, but particularly after you were out in the field for 25 minutes and gave up a big number.
Yeah, and the first 2 guys came up and you had a strikeout, ground out. So 2 quick outs.
Then the walk to Cargo. He was balked to second, and Willeen Rosario with the base hit. That would have been a double had it not hit Cooper. In fact, I wrote down.
I did too.
I wrote down double, and I just realized that because it looked like it was going to automatically be a double. Rosario will be off with the pitch. Posey's moved behind him. 3-2 count with 2 outs on Jordan Pacheco. Lincecum gets the strikeout. Rockies get a run. 5-1 as we move to the second inning at Coors Field.
To the top of the second. Well, last night for Rob Scahill, he made his major league debut. He waited 5 games before he finally got in the 9th inning. His grandma, his mom, his dad, all in attendance to watch. He ended with 1 inning pitch and gave up just 1 hit. And for Rob, he knew it may take a while.
You kind of have an idea. It gets to like that 6th, 7th inning. You're like, well, I mean, we've got Blau, we've got Betancourt, we got Rex. I mean, not going to happen today. Tomorrow's the day. Then tomorrow rolls around, and you're like, tomorrow. Yeah. But finally got in, and it was a great experience.
And one that Scahill will never forget. It took him 5 games, 8 innings, 3 different cities. And like I said, he finally made his major league debut. But his mom and dad will never forget it either, because they traveled the entire time with him. They flew from Chicago to meet him in Atlanta, then to Philly, then back to Chicago. Then they had to come to Denver. And last night, it was all worth the wait to see their son in for an inning in his major league debut, guys.
Now, did they stick around, Jenny?
No, they had to go back. They had a thing called a job, and his mom's a teacher. So she said she used up all her sick days, and she can't be sick anymore.
All right, thanks, Jenny. Line drive, center field. Dexter's got it. Gregor Blanco, who tripled his first time up, is out number 1 in the 2nd inning. That'll bring up Marco Scutero, who singled in Blanco. Well, the first time through, not pretty.
No, if you had a delete button or reboot, you would like to do that if you're Jeff Francis. But now the key is for the next 2 or 3, 4 innings, however long you're out there, to keep it at just 5 runs.
Strike on Scutero. Join in on the conversation with Toyota Talk. We do it in the 6th inning every night. Text the word Toyota to 720-720. Send us questions if you'd like. Text now and you'll be entered to win a 1-year family membership to the Denver Zoo, courtesy of Toyota. Ball and 2 strikes on Venezuelan native Marco Scutero. It's his father's side of the family that is originally from Italy, and thus the Italian family name, and of course Marco, popular name in Italy as well.
Yeah, and well liked by both teammates, both sides. I mean,
tremendous teammate.
Yeah, the Rockies guys, the Giants guys, talking to some of those fellas over there.
Well, I remember having a conversation right after the trade with Carney Lansford, and Carney was just chuckling to himself. He said, "I'm really going to miss that guy." He said, because even on the bad days, there've been a lot of long days, obviously, this year. He said he made me laugh.
And you need that in a 162 game season after spring training, 200 days together.
They say about laughing, it keeps you from crying sometimes, right?
And that's what you have to do, because this game will eat you up, it'll spit you out.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Scutero, and Marco fouls it in the direction of Tim Flannery.
It just tells you also the type of player Scutero is. When they traded for him, they needed him to play 3rd base, and he never played 3rd base. He said, "Give me a glove, I'm over there. Figure I got to catch it, throw it to first like any other position. Let's go."
And that's what you'd expect of him. 3-2. Marcos hit .324 against the Rockies now that he's wearing a Giant uniform. Strike 3 on the outside corner. It's interesting because Marco, A, doesn't strike out much, and B, is not going to strike out looking frequently.
He was guessing curveball, because that's how you get a guy that doesn't strike out. He was guessing something else and looking for off speed, and although the pitch was a fastball that was only 86, 87 miles an hour. Just locked up Scooter.
And a base hit for Posey into the corner. And Cargo's going to have to send it back in the direction of third base. It's a double for Buster. He's 2 for 2. 9 for 16 against Rockies pitching so far. And
well, he's covered all 4 quadrants of the strike zone. He's covered every pitch that's thrown his way. Fastball, changeup, sliders, curveballs. He's just an elite hitter.
He's now 16 for 30 at Coors Field this season. Hunter Pence reached on a fielder's choice his first time. Hunter's never hit well here, just 255 at Coors Field. He's been here with Houston, he's been here with Philadelphia, and now with the Giants. Texas native from Arlington area. And went to UTA, University of Texas Arlington.
The Mavericks.
Hitting just 175 against the Rockies this season. 1-1 on Hunter Pence. Hunter Pence with good road numbers. How about the season Chase Headley's had? See Chase over the weekend. Swung on a miss, 2-2.
Well, and also for a guy that was rumored to be playing anywhere else but San Diego prior to the All-Star break. The Giants in the first 2 games of this series were just 3 for 18 with runners in scoring position. Tonight already, just in the second inning, 4 for 7.
Bruce Bochy and Sir Bam Bam looking on, 2-2. Sir Bam Bam Mullins on the right. I love it.
Got the Sir. We told the story last night. Netherlands. They knighted it.
Way inside and past Rosario. Moving up to third is Posey. Scored a wild pitch, but again, we'll look at the replay. I'm not trying to pick on Willeen.
Let's see where he's.
So let's see where it is.
Yeah, and let's see where he's set up. He wanted that pitch outside.
Tough.
Yeah.
3-2. Swung on and missed, and the strikeout of Pence ends the inning. Posey left at third base. We'll go to the bottom of the second. The Giants with a 5-1 lead on the Rockies. second inning. Tim Lincecum and Jeff Francis hooked up. Tyler Colvin will lead it off against Lincecum, then Chris Nelson and Johnny Herrera. We have a special guest coming up in the third inning you don't want to miss. Colvin with a pinch hit home run yesterday, his second pinch hit home run of the year. 18th home run overall. The Rockies have 10 pinch homers, which is one off the club mark.
That was a line shot out to right.
It was in the 9th inning, and it got the Rockies within 1.
Also took Sergio Romo out of the game. The Rockies were down by 3 heading into that. Got the tying run to the plate.
This is slowly hit. Colvin beat it. Nice drive by Scudero, an infield hit for Tyler Colvin.
Tyler has deceptive speed. There's not a Eric Young type of speed, but once he gets going and out of the box.
Well, he's 6'4".
Man, so he's got the long strides. Marco Scudero came in and snagged that. Mike Shaw Subaru Supermo. Great look. And he did beat it.
Jeff, you mentioned it during the pregame, or actually during the pregame and also in the on camera at the top of the broadcast. Chris Nelson hitting well over 300 since the All-Star break.
Yeah, 36 games, 314, 3 home runs, 21 RBIs. Throw in 2 triples, 6 doubles.
Way inside on Nelly, and it's 2-1. Talked about the reduction in the fastball in terms of miles per hour. I always tell you it's about location, but he has a devastating changeup, but the disparity's not as much as it used to be between his fastball. Look at it, his fastball and his changeup.
Yeah, but you don't have to honor the 93 to 95 mile an hour fastball where you start your swing sooner than what you would like to. These are the scary ones when you're standing in the box because you're trying to get out of the way. You don't want to give up on it, but you see it coming in, and when you recognize it's coming toward your head, it's almost too late.
Plus, Jeff, as you well know from a right-handed pitcher, and your issue was with the left-handed pitcher because you hit left-handed, is the ball is tracking you because it's moving toward you.
Yeah, it's cutting in. So as it's cutting towards you, you're still, your mind's telling you to stay in there. And that's what I mean. When it gets closer to your head, by that time, sometimes it's too late, but you're backing out afterwards.
Lincecum with an ERA close to 7 out on the road. It's just amazing to me with his ability, how rough a ride it's been at times this year. Dave Righetti's done with his conversation. The Rockies down by 4 runs, but they have 2 on, and Johnny Herrera up, nobody out.
But I know he feels the lack of velocity. He knows it in his mind. That's why the numbers are so high.
Johnny 6 for 18 against the Giants this year. Francis on deck. This is a big at bat. And why being in that 8th spot in the lineup, Jeff, and I'm sure you had your days where you hit there in your career, it can be very tricky.
And that's why when you put young kids there, it's hard for them to know, when do I expand the strike zone? When do I shrink it? What do I have to do in this at bat? The key for Jonathan is just not to hit into a double play.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Outfield very shallow in center and left, and Lincecum punches out. 1 gone, and that'll bring up Francis, who will be asked to bunt. Wells Fargo customers, get your 2-for-1 Rockies tickets. Do it today by going to wellsfargo.com/Rockies. Wells Fargo Bank, member FDIC. 3 strikeouts for Lincecum. That's an area that you really haven't seen a great reduction in. He still strikes out more than a hitter an inning.
Already 3 strikeouts in the 2 innings. He had 169 coming in, now 172 strikeouts.
And Jeff lays down a perfect bunt. You know what, you can roll that footage back and use that as a training tool for pitchers at some point.
First and second, you want to bunt the ball towards third base to make the third baseman feel it. Watch where his eyes are tracking right down to the ball. You loosen the hands, even the top hand. That will cause the bat to receive the ball softer. And that's what Jeff did. Catch it towards the end, soften the hands, loosen the hands, and drop the bunt down.
See if Dexter can come through with a knock here with 2 outs. He struck out his first time up. 2 ribbies out there for Dex. Okay, the other thing about the execution of the bunt that I love, it's a term that always applies, be a knee bender, not a hip bender. He was in a very athletic position.
And he also had the bat at the top of the zone, so you only have to work it one way, and that's down. If it's above the bat, you pull it back, it's a ball.
One ball, 1 strike. Two and 1. Well, a lot of pitches in these first 2 innings for both Jeff Francis and Tim Lincecum. Two and 2.
That's what you're referencing, Drew, the number of pitches just one time through the lineup. 40 pitches for Lincecum, 37 for Francis.
And now the count runs full. The other thing about Tim Lincecum, and you never would have said this a couple years ago, he's lost confidence. I mean, he was very, very close to losing his spot in the rotation, and then he had an 8-inning shutout ball game against the Pirates. He's now walked Fowler. The bases are loaded for Rutledge, and the Rockies are a gapper away from being right back in this ball game.
Just illustrates even further the razor-thin line between success and failure at the major league level, and the confidence factor, how much confidence you have to have in yourself and your ability to play the game.
Rutledge takes a strike. He bounced short his first time up. Confidence at times, even for guys who've reached superstar status, can be fleeting. Here's the 0-1 and a ground ball to Scudero. Lincecum works out of it. The Rockies leave the bases loaded. We'll go to the third inning. The Giants 5 and the Rockies 1. Special guest when we come back. Jeff Houston, I'm Drew Goodman, and we welcome to our broadcast booth the head coach of the Air Force Academy, of course, Coach Calhoun. Troy Calhoun's with us. And, Troy, I have to tell you, you had the near miss in Michigan. I had you as my upset special last week.
I did too. I didn't think it was an upset. I tell you, it was kind of neat. We only have 5 starters back this year. We have 3 back on offense and 2 back on defense. But just to see the verve and the determination of our guys was, I think, it gives you, there's some confidence. There's still some things that you're able to draw from being able to play against a pretty good football team in that kind of atmosphere, which we'll do. And we'll be one of those football teams, if you're always able to stay healthy, and which you say that as we watch the Rockies right now. If you're able to stay healthy, we'll be a group that'll make good strides throughout the season, too.
I've always felt with the Air Force Academy that not only do you do get better, but the last time of year, if you have to play the Zoomies, you don't want to play them in September, because you guys, just the nature of the kids you have, you guys are always ready to go early. And I also do feel the other side happens sometimes. You get worn down a little bit because physically you tend to be smaller, and the military commitments and all that, the workload not only in the classroom but outside the classroom is a challenge.
It's real, Drew. I mean, it's like the other day. We took 70 kids back to Ann Arbor, and I used the bathroom on the back of the flight and was walking down the aisle, and I'm seeing all these equations. These guys are spending time and stuff with the instructor. Somebody said, "Hey, Coach, do you know we're taking 70 kids? They're pretty much all taking 18 semester hours, and so we're going to miss 200 classes today amongst our football team." I thought, oh no, we can't. But it's, the military and the leadership obligations that they have, and just more importantly, the kind of commitment that they make to go serve, on active duty after they graduate is really, really something else. And they aren't real big bodies, but when it comes to the heart and the character part of it, those are your edges when you play.
So you have this next week off, and then you go to UNLV and start up the Mountain West schedule.
We do, which really you look from here on out. I mean, for us, we're we're probably the only school in the country that really has a chance to play for 2 championships, play for, compete well in the Mountain West Conference, and yet still those other 2 games against Army and Navy tend to mean a good bit.
You have Navy in Colorado Springs and Army at West Point this year.
That's correct. Yes, sir. And those are always doozies. I mean, they're just those games are unlike anything I've ever been a part of, including I remember we played some of those NFL playoff games in Denver, and it was something else. I remember one night we played New England here at home in a phenomenal football game, and we wanted to play against Peyton Manning 2 different years in Indianapolis. And there's just something about the intensity and just the energy, and probably more than anything else, just knowing eventually what those 22 kids that are on the field, what they've chosen to do down the road. Must be a little 3 up, 3 down here.
Yeah, they got 2. Jeff Francis gets Brandon Belt. Troy Calhoun, of course, is our guest from the Air Force Academy. You were talking about the big games that you play. Almost every week you have some sort of rivalry game. Obviously, Army-Navy. You always play a tough non-conference schedule. You're at the Big House last week. We haven't mentioned the fact you play Colorado State, you play Wyoming, and New Mexico's right down the road in Albuquerque. It's not all that far away. So there's a lot of times an old target on the back of the Zoomies.
Well, Drew, I'll tell you what it is. I think it's a terrific league, and it's neat to see we're going to have a chance to play en route this year. I mean,
absolutely.
Hopefully that really blossoms into a terrific partnership down the road. But the proximity up and down here along the Front Range, and there's good mutual respect because they're quality institutions too.
You get CSU at home and Wyoming up in Laramie.
We do. It tends to work that way, one or the other, and they're never easy either.
Well, I just have to tell you, I went to Wyoming, so make sure I get that in there.
Good place.
Here's the 1-1.
But it's nice to see, though, the rivalry, but the respect between the institutions.
I think so. I mean, and it starts at the top. It means you have tremendous leadership amongst the administrations and classy young people. Young men and young women that go to these schools are sharp and they're just quality.
And look what we have.
They're sitting together. How about
that? Could happen. I mean, I guess right now
was that staged?
Yeah, that's right. That was a great camera shot, by the way.
You know what I like? You guys have bucked the trend, because the trend now is to go to these super conferences, and the Air Force Academy had an opportunity, and I'm sure there are a myriad of reasons, but one of the reasons that you didn't go to the Big East, from what I understand, and talking to people in the know down at the Academy, is the rivalries in the Mountain West Conference, the rivalries with Colorado State, the rivalries with the University of Wyoming.
Absolutely. That was a crucial part of it, Drew. And the other part, too, is you have a bunch of activities. We have 27 intercollegiate sports at the Academy, and it's got to be about all the young men, young women that have made a commitment to go to the Academy, make sure they have fruitful experiences in their endeavors, too.
Yeah. Have you talked to Peyton? Have you had an opportunity?
I have not. No,
okay.
Sir. That was something else the other night, though.
You know what? He looked a lot like that guy that's won 4 MVP awards. Coach, it is great to see you. We wish you nothing but the best, and we're looking forward to having you on route later on in the autumn, and I know you guys will have a successful season. It's always good to see you.
It'll be fun. Thanks, Drew.
You appreciate it. Yes, Troy Calhoun, the head coach at the United States Air Force Academy. 5-1, San Francisco. State in Stillwater. The Aggies will be in Dallas to take on SMU, and Lamar in Honolulu to take on Hawaii right here on Root Sports on Saturday. Carlos Gonzalez leading it off in a 5-1 ball game. Rockies left the bases loaded last inning. Cargo walked his first time up, 1-1. Lincecum working at Gonzalez. Cargo will be followed in the lineup by Willeen Rosario and Jordan Pacheco.
September 27th is Fan Appreciation Day. All fans of the game will automatically be entered for merchandise and autographed items. The Chicago Cubs make their first visit to Coors Field.
Got a pitch to hit there, fouled it straight back. And Adam Ottavino's already up here in the bottom of the third inning.
Already an elevated pitch count for Francis, 78 pitches.
Yeah, so it's going to be a 3-inning stint. And he's the guy that has gone the deepest typically into ball games. He's usually been very economical, Jeff has, but the 5 runs in the first was a long inning.
Yeah, last time out, 5 2/3. Couple before that, he'd gone 5 innings, but not tonight.
Gonzalez has the bat blown up. He's the first out, and that'll bring up Rosario.
Mike Shaw's Subaru Supermo off the end of the bat and left with a sliver in his hand. The barrel goes out towards first.
Single down the left field line for Rosario, knocked in Gonzalez in the first inning. It's a 61st RBI for Willeen. Willeen's little brother, who's a catcher in the Rockies organization, is in town, and if you go by the Willeen's locker in the clubhouse, and if you don't look too quickly, you think that his little brother's Willeen.
I saw him walking out last night, and I thought the same.
Hold on, Willeen's little brother's going to stand up and cheer, because that's long gone. Baby Bull has hit his 24th, and it is 5-2.
When he hits him, there's no question, and this one was a no question home run. Thank you for the hanging breaking pitch, Tim Lincecum. We'll go back to the side swing for Willeen Rosario, excuse me, the front side of Willeen Rosario. How he keeps his hips in there until it opens up, and now the side swing. I mean, that's just so reminiscent of Frank Thomas. It's eerie.
In the air to left, Brandon Belt's there, and Pacheco is the second out in the third inning. Tyler Colvin will come up. He had an infield hit. Fastball at 91 is in there for a strike. Last rookie catcher to hit more home runs than Williams' 24 was a fella by the name of Mike Piazza in '93 when he broke in with 35 home runs. 2 strikes.
Tyler telling Angel Campos that wasn't a strike.
And Angel saying, look at
No,
the scoreboard.
yeah, it says
0-2.
I have the final say. I have the clicker. I called it a strike.
Lincecum strikes out Colvin. He gives up the home run to Rosario, and it's a 5-2 ball game.
Last time the Giants came to Coors Field, it was the beginning of August, and they were on the heels of losing 7 of their past 8 games. Well, since then, they've gone on quite a tear, and it all has to do with a Bruce Bochy speech in the clubhouse. See, Bruce Bochy doesn't do this very often, but he pulled his team together when they got to Colorado, and he played a clip from the movie Days of Thunder. He said he felt like his team lost their confidence and a little bit of their swagger, thought it might just pick them up. Well, I talked with relief pitcher Clay Hensley today, and Clay said he's done this before. When Clay was with the San Diego Padres and Bruce Bochy was there, he did it with the movie Braveheart. He said the next couple of days, guys came in with Blue Warrior paint on their face. It got him fired up. He said the reaction here for the Giants, guys have just been quoting the lines. It's really just loosened up the clubhouse, made it a little more fun for them. So I guess no one showed up in a little Tom Cruise race car attire outfit, Drew, but it'll work.
It is working. I'd like to see the blue paint the next day, huh?
I just like the different ways managers try to motivate guys.
It's a long season.
It is. Earlier this year, Joe Madden at Tampa Bay said, I want it to be like American Legion ball. So for a week, they didn't have batting practice. They just said, show up an hour, hour and a half before the game, and let's go.
Comebacker Adam Ottavino gets Barrington Crawford at first. 3 innings for Jeff Francis, 5 runs, 7 hits. Did not walk anybody, struck out 5. This will bring up Lincecum. Lincecum bounced to second his first time up. Bochy'd love to get some length out of Lincecum for a number of reasons. Last night they won 9-8 and use 8 pitchers.
They do have a day off tomorrow, which will help the Giants get back on track before they head to Arizona. And then they have one other off day before the end of the season.
The day off for the Rockies tomorrow is their last off day of the season. They'll play 20 straight.
3 times this year the Rockies have had a 20 straight game stretch, and that's the most you can have per the rules.
Well, we're going to show you the schedule. The Major League schedule came out today for 2013. We're going to show you the Rockies schedule. It's very interesting. We're going to do it next half inning. They have only one stretch next year where they play 20 straight, as opposed to the 3 they had to endure this year. It's hard. It's hard on a ball club.
This year they had a 20-game stretch, day off, 13, day off, 20, and that's what they're in right now, where they play 54 games in 56 days. I've been in the game for 27 years. I've not heard of that before.
Ball and 2 strikes on Blanco. Triple and a line drive to center. Rockies' schedule next year is very interesting. That's a base hit. I think the fans are going to love it.
Yes, they will.
Eighth hit for the Giants. Marco Scutaro has one of those 8 hits, an RBI single in the first.
Now's where Bruce Bochy likes to be aggressive with his base runners. Blanco 21 out of 24 stolen bases. You have 2 outs, no count to Scutaro. You steal here, get into immediate scoring position. If he is thrown out, you have Scutaro leading off next half inning. Sizable lead for Blanco.
There goes Blanco, pitch out. Everything was set up. The only problem is Rosario dropped the baseball in the exchange. Stolen base number 22 for Gregor Blanco. He continues to grow that career high in stolen bases.
When Blanco was going, Rosario, Tommy Runnels had made the correct call out of the dugout. And he just dropped it. He dropped it on the exchange. There's nothing more that Adam Ottavino could do. The dugout. He just didn't catch it first and transfer to his throwing hand.
Won't hurt him because Dexter Fowler is going to catch the fly ball from Marco Scutaro. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Giants 5, Rockies 2. Johnny Herrera and Adam Ottavino here in the 4th inning against Tim Lincecum. Drew Goodman, Jeff Houston, Jenny Cavnar. Again, our thanks to Troy Calhoun, the head coach at the Air Force Academy, for jumping on board last inning. Two strikes to count on Nelson.
Griffin Jacks, one of the top baseball players at Cherry Creek, committed to the Air Force baseball team this past weekend.
Saw him play a game or two last year for Cherry Creek. Good for him. Congratulations on getting an appointment to the academy. Chris Nelson is gone. As promised, here's some highlights from the Rockies' schedule next year. They'll open on the road. They'll finish on the road in Los Angeles. But look at this. Tampa Bay comes a-calling, followed by the Yankees the first part of May. The Rockies will play Boston at home and on the road this year, 2-game series. They'll also go to Toronto. They'll go to Baltimore. It's a really exciting home schedule, a challenging road schedule, and they'll play their division rivals 19 times each. Last few years it's been 18 each. Herrera lines out in center field.
And the last 2 games at home next year are against Boston.
Right before the Rockies finish the year
Yes.
in LA. So, you know, you're talking about the Rockies hoping that the year is completely different than what we've witnessed this year, and Boston hoping for the same thing.
But that's what's neat next year about the interleague, because Cincinnati and the LA Angels of Anaheim or whatever, they open up against each other next year.
Well, it has to be that way because the Astros become an American League team, so it's no longer an imbalance of 16 teams in the National League and 14 in the American League. It's 15-15, so interleague play takes place throughout the season. With Houston, get used to seeing the Astros. You are used to it because they've been a National League team. They made the Rockies and Astros, quote unquote, the interleague rivals. And so each year, at least in the foreseeable future, the Rockies will play a home and home of 2-2 with the Astros. The wild thing about that one is they're 4 in succession.
Yeah, 2 down there, and then they turn around and play 2 here.
Share an airplane back and save some cash. That was a quick inning for Lincecum. 2 more punch outs. He's got 6. We move to the 5th. 5-2 San Francisco. Night and visit with Jim Tracy, who's good enough to join us. Trace, you don't see Jeff Francis struggle usually like that. A crooked number, but your club has kind of inched their way back in it.
You know, Drew, we're trying to chip away. You know, Rosario took that big swing to get us back to 5-2. I think, like you're mentioning, if you go back to the first inning, I think there's 2 pitches in particular that really jump out. 2 breaking balls, both of which stayed up long enough for the balls to be hooked into respective corners, the one by Sanchez and the one by Crawford. And that's really those 2 at-bats is in essence as to how the 5-run spot went up there in the top of the first inning.
All right. Hey, Jim, good luck the rest of the way. We appreciate it as always.
Thanks.
All right. Jim Tracy and his club trailing 5-2. Fifth inning, Buster Posey, Hunter Pence, Joaquin Arias. This is an important inning because you're down 3. You're in the middle of the lineup. Second inning work from Adam Ottavino. It's kind of that hump inning.
Right, and because of where they're at in their lineup. If it was towards the bottom part of the lineup, you wouldn't feel as important. But what Buster Posey has done here at Coors Field against the Rockies, this is the inning. You get him out, then you get Pence, follow him up in the areas, set this down to give the offense, who each and every other inning are chipping away at Lincecum.
1-1. Adam Ottavino has thrived in this hybrid role of working 2 to 3 innings every 4th day. And you're not always hooked up together with the starter because the Rockies have gone to a 5-man rotation since the return of Chacin.
He just knows that every 3rd day here, 4th day, he's going to be the guy.
Yeah, I mean, Moscoso's in that role. Torres is in that role. Ottavino's in that role.
Adam has the 2nd lowest batting average against of any Rockies pitcher. Number 1 is Rafael Betancourt. Adam Ottavino at 225 in 70-plus innings has only given up 58 hits.
That's a number that jumps off the page at you, especially for a pitcher that calls Coors Field his home diamond.
And he's almost 1-to-1 ratio of strikeouts at innings pitched.
3-2 on Buster Posey. 2 for 2, a single and a double in the ball game. And he got it. That's a big punch out right there. He'll bring up Hunter Pence. 2nd strikeout for Ottavino.
This is a split that Adam has been working on because that was a hard pitch. He split the fingers in 88 miles an hour, and it had sinking action to tie up Buster Posey.
Yeah, it didn't react, Jeff, like a typical split. It didn't
have the dive, though.
It looked like you described. It looked like a sinker that ran.
But hard. If you put pressure on your index finger and you get the ball to rotate coming out of your hand and turn it over, you'll get that.
Slow roller to short. Johnny Herrera is going to get Pence, who always goes hard, by a step. And with 2 outs, that'll bring up the 3rd baseman, Joaquin Arias. A single and an RBI and a strikeout for Arias.
And if Adam can develop that 3rd pitch and to have the confidence to throw it 3-2 to Buster Posey and strike him out, to go along with the 95 fastball and the hard slider.
Deep in the hole, and it's going to sneak through for Joaquin Arias. Both hits that Adams allowed have been 2-out hits that look just like that.
Well, and both hits for Arias have been just like that.
That'll bring up Brandon Belt with 2 outs.
Fans buy a green pack, 2 tickets for $24, and $5 will go towards planting trees. It's available September 23rd and 25th.
Up the middle, and a dive by Rutledge. He won't get it. Arias will go 1st to 3rd. Belt has his 1st hit of the night. 2 aboard for Hector Sanchez. Sanchez, an RBI single and a strikeout.
Belt got the slider that was up. Josh dove for it, went off his glove, just slowed it down. Couldn't corral it.
'22-year-old backup catcher for the Giants. Out of Venezuela, Hector Sanchez. Big swing, no baseball.
And he's primarily been used this year as Barry Zito's caddy. 21 out of the 42 starts that Sanchez has had has been where Barry Zito's on the hill.
Oh, 2, good fastball from Ottavino at 95. Hector Sanchez, 295 hitter in his minor league days. There weren't many of them. He moved pretty quickly.
22 at the big leagues. With the guy that crouches and really leans over like Sanchez does, I mean, this is the area where you can pitch to and get him.
They say that third to first move, everybody in the crowd never works. It almost worked right there to get Brandon Belt.
And they're still thinking about outlawing it.
Why?
I don't know.
What's the point?
I have
Why would
no
you
idea.
Beautiful things about baseball as opposed to a lot of the other games. There's not a lot of tinkering with the rules.
No, you don't need to change the rules every offseason because something is askew.
Now they changed the postseason, and I'm good with it. They changed, interleague play, and I think that's worked out well. But not the actual rules of the game.
Right, and there's a difference.
Huge difference.
Think about the NFL, how many times they're tweaking those rules and saying, oh, you can do this year and last year you can't. We're going to move the kickoff back and move it forward and all this other stuff.
You're right. I mean, the NBA has gone through a bunch of changes just to be able to be a lot more physical in the NBA. We used to be able to hand check in the NBA.
Yeah, and they also put that line down in the paint where you couldn't draw a charge below that.
I actually like that.
That's not bad. I'm not saying it's
right, but you're right. There's always changes. It seems like in the other sports, there's been changes in hockey with the 2-line pass.
The trapezoid behind the goalie.
Yep.
Can't handle the puck outside of that.
Look at the rule changes in badminton in the Olympics. Okay.
Don't get me started on that.
1-2 the count on Hector Sanchez. Belt takes off. They'll throw through and safe at second. And Arias really wasn't looking to go. Belt, it was a straight steal. He wasn't trying to get in a rundown.
11 steals for Brandon Belt. But Willeen Rosario did the right thing when he came up and threw this ball to second base because he gave a quick glance over to third. Watched the head of Rosario. He gave a quick look, saw he wasn't going, and then threw down. That freezes Joaquin Arias enough where he can't steal home.
2-2. Arias at third, time with the Mets and Texas Rangers. Brandon Belt's the runner at second. Ottavino trying to put down the inning here in the top of the fifth. Rockies have been out hit 10-3 already, and that is foul. Sixth inning, an inning away. That means Toyota Talk's an inning away. Text Toyota followed by a space, and then your comments to 720-720. Learn how to win a one-year family membership to the Denver Zoo.
Sanchez choking up on the bat with 2 strikes. Somewhat of a lost art in baseball now.
Did he go? Yes, he did. Third base umpire Eric Cooper indicates he went around. The Rockies complete the play at first base. There were a couple hits, couple men left in scoring position. Middle of 5, Giants up by 3 runs. Brought to you by the Ford Focus. It's 40 miles per gallon of pure fun. Start more than a car. Ford Focus. Go further. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Burger King. Come play family food where every game piece has a prize. Nice aerial view of Coors Field. Most of this day, I didn't think we'd see baseball tonight. But the rain has moved on out. Chilly evening. Dexter Fowler takes strike 1. Walked in the second, struck out in the first. Rockies down by 3 runs. Top of the order, Fowler, Rutledge, and Gonzalez against Lincecum. Lincecum in the first inning gave up a run. In the second inning, the Rockies loaded the bases without scoring. And then in the third inning, Willeen Rosario hit a solo home run. Rockies went in order in the fourth. Lincecum has been solid. I think that would be
great.
It'd be the fairest.
Horrible.
Right, it'd be the fairest way to describe it. And that is a ground ball to short. Crawford with a quick release. He does
made that look easy.
Yeah, he does a really good job, Jeff. And you played that position of moving his feet and getting rid of the baseball.
And footwork is so important for any infielder, because if you have quick feet, your hands and your arm will get in the correct position. The quickness with which he turned his body once he caught that ball to square the shoulders up towards first base allowed him to get rid of that ball in a timely manner. I mean, that was really nice just to watch from a purely technical standpoint.
Josh Rutledge takes a strike. Ground ball to short and a ground ball to second. Rutledge going through his first, I don't know if you want to call it an altogether slump, but his first period of time where he's not throwing out 2-3 hits every night. Started so quickly and has been able to sustain it for the most part.
That being said, he's still hitting .309. That's the key when you've built up that high average and you go through the down trough, and it'll come back.
2-1 on the ground to third. Arias throws him out. Rutledge is 1 for his last 12 at the plate, and that'll bring up Carlos Gonzalez. And all 3 times Cargo's come up, Lincecum has managed to face it without any traffic.
Mike Shaw Subaru Supermo, that was off the label. The bat of Josh Rutledge. It didn't matter whether you had the label up, down, facing the pitcher. When it gets that far in, it's going to crack. And it's going to go into 2 different directions.
Coors Light freeze camp. Cargo's last time up, a rollover ground ball, got it off the end of the bat, blew up the maple. Brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Here's the 1-0. It's a strike, 1-1. Broken bat, base hit to center. So he sacrificed 2 bats tonight. He's more pleased with the second sacrifice.
Yeah, he's 500. First bat didn't work, had to go to the second one, and even though that was off the end of the bat, cracked it, it's a sinking line drive to center. Just had it on our Coors Light freeze cam. Same pitch, different result.
Cargo gets a huge jump on Lincecum and easily swipes second base.
17 now for Cargo, and that's his first in a while. Be aggressive with 2 outs. High leg kick, the hip turn. That was 1-4-5 to get to the plate for Lincecum. Easy stolen base.
You know, this staff has been run on frequently, and you sometimes see that with staffs that overall have strikeout artists, guys that don't give up a lot of runs. They're not as concerned with the running game. That's 81 stolen bases allowed by, I was going to say by Buster Posey, but he's not behind the plate, so that's unfair. Buster's at first. 80 stolen bases allowed by Buster Posey, the most allowed in baseball. That one obviously against the combination of Lincecum and Hector Sanchez. You can't put it on Hector.
Not at all. That's 100% on Tim Lincecum.
3-0 the count on Rosario. He wasn't turned loose there, and I thought he might be.
Last time he flew out to right, but he's been successful 2 or 3 other times being turned loose 3-0.
And Lincecum on a 3-1 pitch goes slider, misses, ball 4. Now they're 2 on from Pacheco. So Willian's been on all 3 times tonight. It's the 3rd walk allowed by Lincecum. Pacheco a strikeout and a fly ball to left field.
81 walks for Lincecum on the season, had 7 in his last start.
Pacheco 3 for 10 lifetime against Lincecum. Got a mini 3-game hitting streak going. 3 knocks last night for Jordan. Could use one right here. Rockies trying to claw their way back into this thing.
Jordan hitting .326 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs.
Good number.
Those 2-out RBIs, they just seem to hurt worse when you're in the other dugout. In your dugout, it pumps everybody up. Those are the ones that just make you feel better when you go to the bat rack to take your shot at it.
fly ball to center field. Gregor Blanco will have it. And the Rockies do not score in the 5th. They get a base hit and a walk, leave 2 aboard. 5-2 as we go to the 6th. Inning. 3rd inning for Jeff Francis was his best inning. A strikeout of Joaquin Arias, a pop up off the bat of Brandon Belt, and then Hector Sanchez would strike out. Learn about energy efficiency and how to save money in your home by visiting responsiblebynature.com. Unfortunately for Jeff, he worked only 3 innings, 78 pitches. Adam Ottavino's now out there for his 3rd inning. 5-2 Giants. The 5 runs came in the 1st inning. 5 runs, 6 hits in that 1st inning for the Giants against Jeff Francis. Brandon Crawford will lead it off. Lincecum's on deck. Ottavino throws that slider for strike 1. Drew Goodman, Jeff Houston, Jenny Cavnar. Rockies will be off to San Diego tomorrow. The Giants will head to the desert tonight. They'll take on Arizona beginning on Friday. Crawford fouls this pitch up on the left side. It's going to drift over the the Giants dugout.
After that series in Arizona, the Giants go home for 10 games. 4 against the Rockies, 3 against San Diego, and 3 against Arizona.
They don't play a team above 500 again until they face the Dodgers late in the year. And the Dodgers
are 6 back.
The Dodgers are 6 back, not playing good baseball. They are leading in the 4th right now in Phoenix, 2-1. This ball's pulled toward the right field corner. It is a fair ball. Brandon Crawford, who had a 2-run double in the 1st, has his 2nd double of the night, leading off the 6th inning.
Last 28 games for Brandon Crawford, hitting .300 and starting to put consistent at-bats and swings together. I mean, last year and even the first half of this year, he wasn't an automatic out, but he had more holes than he does now in his swing.
The bunt attempt by Lincecum, and nice job by Pacheco. That grass probably still wet from earlier today by Rutledge at first covering, I should say. And Ottavino's spikes flew out from underneath him.
Rosario pops out. He's yelling first, first, first the whole way. And when the grass is wet, you have to be under control more. You can't go as hard as you normally would if the ground is dry. And Adams spikes. He just started going too fast, slid out. But with Lincecum, the pitcher, running, fired over there. Josh Rutledge picks him up. and it's an easy force out then.
So with one out, the Rockies will have to bring the infield in here in the 6th. Gregor Blanco, triple, line out, single, and a stolen base. He has performed well at the top of the lineup tonight for Bruce Bochy, giving Angel Pagan a night off.
That's all it is for Pagan. He's been playing a lion's share of the time for the Giants.
And he had good numbers coming in against Jeff Francis. It's just Bruce Bochy took the opportunity to get his veteran outfielder 48 hours of complete rest. And he has the luxury to do that with the 6-game lead.
That's why. If they're neck and neck or a game up or a game back, sorry, you're going to have to play.
I don't think you'd have to apologize for it. I think the player would want to play. Blanco, good career numbers against the Rockies, .394 average. Ottavino needs to make a pitch. It's 2-0. That was a pitch. 2-1.
Back foot slider, the disappearing one to a left-hander. Go back down inside. The one place you want to stay away from for Blanco is out over here, because that's an easy pitch to lift to the outfield.
Squeeze is on. It's fouled off.
And somebody down at field level yelled that early. Let's take a listen.
Like it came out of the Rockies dugout.
Yeah, it had to have, because of the angle that they were looking with Crawford and the batter.
2-2. Got him. Big strikeout.
Big block from Rosario.
Yep. Good movement by Willeen. That's the 4th strikeout for Ottavino. The infield can back up. Marco Scudero coming up.
And 2 times they go down with the slider. Rosario blocks it and tags Blanco for a big, big second out.
One 1-0 the count on Marco Scudero. RBI single, a strikeout, and a fly ball to center field. And a base hit for Scudero. 6-2. He has been absolutely a godsend for the San Francisco Giants with the suspension of Melky Cabrera.
And even 30 RBIs out of the 60 he has this year been with the San Francisco Giants in a limited number of games.
Whatever happened to Jamie Moyer? Jamie had opportunities with 2 different teams, Baltimore and Toronto, and never was called up. And we assume Jamie's at his home in Southern California helping out with 8 kids.
Helping his wife Karen out.
First run allowed by Ottavino. Scudero is now 6 for 13 in this series. 12 hits for the Giants, just 4 for the Rockies. Buster Posey, single, double, and a strikeout. Ottavino struck him out with that splitter his last time up.
The Giants are averaging 8.5 runs per game at Coors Field.
That's why they've won every game at Coors Field but 2 this year. They're 6-2 at Coors Field. Will Harris throwing.
74 runs now in 8.5 games.
What the Giants roster, Huey? 18 position players, 14 pitchers working out of the pen, and they have a 5-man rotation.
They're not going to get cut short.
Well, they have 37 guys.
About as close to that 40-man.
Thank goodness for all the modern stadiums. The last place they want to go, and they're not going to, is Wrigley right now.
Yeah, or Old Tiger Stadium if it was still up, because guys would be tripled up in their lockers. No room in the dugouts.
2-2.
I just remember going into Old Tiger Stadium in September with the expanded rosters, because those were so small. They were built and there wasn't much headroom.
It's small at Wrigley Field for a 25-man roster at coaches. Much less you put 37 bodies in there. 2-2. And Posey, like a guy who is hitting .332 coming in, able to foul off that good pitch. Real quiet approach.
A slightly open stance, but when he strides back towards the pitcher to keep the left shoulder and everything directional.
'48th pitch for Ottavino. And he gets a little comeback there. Nice job by Adam. Scudero burns the Rockies with that 2-out knock to left. And the Giants extend their lead to 6-2. Tyler Colvin, Chris Nelson, Johnny Herrera to face Tim Lincecum. AT&T trivia question. The Rockies have 10 pinch hit home runs this season. What's the club record? And for bonus, pat on the back, what's the major league record for pinch homers in a season? Appropriate that we deliver that question with Tyler Colvin stepping up. He delivered the Rockies' 10th pinch home run last night in the 9th, his second of the year, third of his career. Colvin takes the fastball away.
There's two other guys on the ball club that have 2 pinch hit home runs this year.
1-1.
Fowler and Kadire.
One of Michael's was a grand slam.
Hitting the road. Subscribe to MLB.tv to see every Rockies out of market game online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Will Harris is still in the bullpen getting loose for the Rockies.
Well, he'll come into the ball game. Ottavino has thrown 3 innings in the neighborhood of 50 pitches. So that is the typical high end for the hybrid or bridge pitcher. So for Ottavino, he'll end up with 3 innings of work, giving up 1 run on 5 hits and striking out 4. To second. Scudero throws out Colvin. Let's check our CenturyLink high-speed pitch. Fast speed, a low monthly price. Visit CenturyLink.com. Tim Lincecum 92. Jeff Francis touched 90. Chris Nelson a walk and a strikeout tonight against the Freak out of the University of Washington. One of the 2 runs the Rockies got against Lincecum came in the first. Tim's given up major league high 26 runs in the first inning. He gets out of that, he usually has a good night. It's 5.11 ERA coming in, the 2nd highest ERA among the starting pitcher, qualifying starting pitcher in the National League, trailing just Randy Wolf of Milwaukee.
He came into this season with a career ERA of 2.98, but it's gone up to 3.27 now.
I think for a lot of pitchers, probably a lot of athletes, you're always tinkering, you're always trying to get better, even if you've had a great deal of success, as Lincecum has. And sometimes you're actually reinventing yourself to a certain degree.
Well, especially with pitchers with their diminished velocities.
2-2.
Well, that's why some guys go to the knuckleball. Can't throw it anymore. Charlie Huff was one guy that he used to throw.
That's, you know what, that's not a reinvention. That's raising the building and starting over. There's a base hit for Nelson.
You say, well, just knock it all down and start over.
Johnny Herrera will come up. Chris Nelson's had a very fine second half, and more specifically the last 4 games, he's hitting .500.
Hitting all types of pitches. He's jumping on the fastball. If they make a mistake with the breaking pitch, he'll pull that for a home run. Right center to left center. First 3-hit ball game last night. He was just trying to match Pacheco, who had 3 hits. There's a nice piece in the pregame show about those two competing and how they rely on each other.
Yeah, I think sometimes we assume that if 2 guys play the same position and are competing for playing time, they're probably not that close. That's not the case with Chris Nelson and Jordan Pacheco. They're really good friends.
Yeah, and Chris even asked Jordan about playing third and vice versa. How do you go about playing a guy? When you make a play, do you spin or do you just rotate your feet? How does it work for you? Same thing hitting. It's not unlike what pitchers do out in the bullpen. How do they get guys out? They're always talking about pitching.
And now they're both out on the field almost on an everyday basis. One at first, one at third. Jordan was one of Nelly's teammates that went to his birthday party at his house and did a lot of damage food-wise. Maharis Cantos in the bullpen for San Francisco. 1-2 misses, 2-2. Rockies down 6-2. They've been out hit 12-5. Blackman's come out on deck to hit for Ottavino.
104th pitch for Lincecum. If Herrera gets on and they announce Blackman, they'll go to Maharis.
Foul tip, and it was held, so Johnny is gone. 2 outs, and Charlie Blackman is going to come up. I assume Boch will make his way up the steps. Maybe not, though.
Well, maybe not because of the strikeout. Give him an opportunity to get through this inning, so the reliever can have a fresh inning to start the 7th.
Charlie's never faced Lincecum. 2 for 5 thus far on the homestand.
And 1 for 5 as a pinch hitter.
And the one came yesterday. And Charlie ropes this to right. That's a fair ball. Chris Nelson is going to get a green light from Richie Dower. And Nelly's going to score easily at 6-3. Charlie Blackman delivering again off the bench.
Start, but you're sitting in reserve. You better watch what the starting pitcher has. How does he attack hitters? What does he do? What's he going to throw me? Because if I go up and pinch hit, I need to know what he has. And he waited for that first pitch that he saw over the middle part of the plate and hooked it down into the corner. Here's Nelson motoring home.
You know, Boch jogged out to the mound. If he's jogging out, he's not taking the baseball. He jogged out, and literally the conversation couldn't have been more than 8 words.
How you doing? How do you feel? It's a cool night. It's only 50 degrees now. His arms still feel good. Lincecum, being the veteran guy that he is, he has that option to tell him, Skip, I'm fine. Let me stay.
And Bochy's a veteran manager and a good manager. And I think this has been a rough year for Tim Lincecum. He wants to try to instill confidence in a guy that's pitching better, but has had a fragile psyche for most of this summer.
Bochy, a former catcher himself, so he knows that dynamics of a pitcher and the way they are feeling out on the hill. He's not going to take that away from Lincecum.
Dexter's 0 for 2 and a walk. But he obviously has reached the point where if he does not get Fowler,
he's done.
He's done. Chances are if he doesn't get Fowler, certainly if he throws out a hit, you're talking about a 2-run game with 9 outs left, 10 outs left for the Rockies on offense. Reached back and blew away Dexter Fowler on 3 pitches. Strikeout number 8 for Lincecum. He does give up a run in the 6th. The Rockies trailing 6-3.
Giants by 3. Well, Rockies reliever Matt Belisle, he has the most appearances in Major League Baseball this year with 72. However, today he made a very important appearance at Regis High School. He joined Olympic swimmer Missy Franklin to try and teach her how to throw a baseball. Missy will be throwing out the ceremonial first pitch on September 22nd. So Matt did all he can and could, and at the end of the day, it was his turn to thank the swimmer.
Again, unbelievable job.
Thank you.
Seriously. I mean, America, Colorado, everybody has an incredible role model to follow, and I'm just extremely happy for you. I know everybody else is.
Thank you.
Well, we were so glad that Missy Franklin let us come and film her throwing. She improved drastically throughout the day. She's very excited to come to Coors Field. Of course, she has made her tour across the United States since winning her gold medals at the Olympics this summer. But for Matt Belisle to go and get to spend some time with her, he was so excited, as you could tell by his thank you message to her. And of course, we'll reveal how the entire story went on September 22nd in our pregame show. So very cool day indeed. Drew and Jeff, and I'm telling you, Missy Franklin, she is one heck of a lady, not just an athlete, but she is a very genuine girl.
Yeah, we're all very proud of her, and I'm sure she'll do a little more work, and she'll throw the 90-mile-an-hour heater come that ceremonial first pitch coming up. Who'd you get to catch her, though? Who was that guy in the frame?
Well, that's the best part. Walt Weiss, former Rocky, of course, now he's the baseball coach at Regis High School. He just showed up to catch Missy Franklin. I felt like we had a star-studded cast today at the girls' division gym over there.
Did he break the thing out to catch Missy with? Let's see if
yeah, it is.
She was great. She kept asking for signs. Walt would give her signs. She'd shake them off. I don't want that one. I don't want that one.
I wish she would be more enthusiastic.
I know. I wish she'd smile every once in a while, you know?
What a great spirit she has. Johnny will throw out Hunter Pence by half a step. Joaquin Arias coming up. Trivia question brought to you each night by AT&T. The Rockies with 10 pinch home runs this year. What's the club record? What's the big league record? Colvin hit one last night. The club record's 11. Done on 2 occasions, 95 and 2004. The big league record is 14. The Giants and the Diamondbacks in the same season. Of course, in 2001, the Diamondbacks would become world champions.
Luis Gonzalez with the flare hit.
Wasn't the hardest hit ball of Gonzo's career, but it was his most memorable. Nah.
He beat the Yankees and Mariano Rivera. Pretty neat accomplishment.
Breaking ball from Will Harris in their first strike on Arias. 2 hits tonight for Joaquin. Strike 3. Good pitch by Will Harris.
With the season winding down, don't forget Coors Field is available year-round for special events. Most of the areas of the ballpark can be reserved. We'll call 303 Rockies for more information. Josh Outman, the left-hander, being brought in to face Brandon Belt.
2 outs in the 7th. 6-3 San Francisco. college, you got to start early, prepare early. The best way to do it is invest. And you know that you can deduct your contributions on your Colorado income taxes as well. Use your College Invest savings anywhere in the country, coast to coast. Get started today at collegeinvest.org. So Brandon Belt with nobody on in the 7th inning and 2 gone will face Josh Outman, who returned to the big leagues yesterday and had a 1-2-3 inning.
A strikeout in that inning yesterday. Lefty's hitting just 195 off of Outman. I'm sure this is part of the reason why Jim Tracy brought him in this situation. How are you going to handle the left-hander? Because moving forward, if that's going to be your role, left on left, you need to know, can you get him out?
One ball, one strike on Belt. Single, stole a base in the 5th inning. He's 1 for 3 after a 4 RBI night yesterday.
It's interesting because last night Outman, when he came in with nobody on, he's went from the windup, and tonight nobody on, basically same situation, and he goes to the stretch.
Fastball in, 2-2. And it's always curious to me for a guy that has done a lot of starting, and that's what Outman was doing in Tulsa. When they come in and immediately adopt the half wind up the stretch that you see from relievers. Josh Rutledge making a play second baseman have to make. Getting a little more familiar with that right side. Throws out Belt on a close play. For Jeff Francis. The Giants would hit for 25 minutes. They would produce 5 runs on 6 hits and then put the Rockies behind the proverbial 8 ball. Rockies would inch their way back in. They were down 5-1 when Rosario hit his 24th of the year to make it 5-2. It is now 6-3 as the Rockies come up in the bottom of the 7th inning. That's brought to you by Cooney Lexus, where luxury has an address. Lincecum goes 6 innings, allows the 3 runs on 6 hits. He does strike out 8 in the ball game. He walked 3, and he gives way to George Contos, who got the victory last night in relief.
2-1 on the season for Contos. 2/3 of an inning, couple punch outs. Just 10 pitches thrown.
Rutledge is 0 for 3. Ground ball to short, second, and third. Carr goes on deck. Josh is 1 for his last 12 at the plate.
This is the difference between a minor league season and a big league season. From here to the end now, because the minor league seasons are done unless you've made the playoffs. So they play 142 games, or the big leagues it's 162. So you have to learn how to fight through those last 20 ball games.
Absolutely. Actually, going back to Philadelphia, he's 1 for his last 17 at the plate. And you're going to have those.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are.
No.
We've watched Carlos Gonzalez struggle of late. Every hitter goes through it. Part of that adjustment period, especially for a young player.
And until you play a full season of 162 games, you don't know how to deal with it. That's a learning process.
Yeah, and the Giants pitching staff's gotten after him. He's 5 for 38 against the Giants. He's hitting .351 against everybody else. The Giant pitching staff has been outstanding for a while. Contos ahead 0-2.
Well, speaking of the playoffs, there's still 2 teams left for the Rockies minor league system. Modesto tied it up yesterday with Bakersfield. It's 2-2. They'll play tonight. And then Asheville's tied 1-1 with Greensboro. They'll play their 3rd game tomorrow. Tyler Anderson scheduled to toe the rubber for Asheville.
And a ground ball to the middle of the diamond. Scudero will throw out Rutledge. That's 4 ground outs in the ball game for Josh. And that'll bring up Cargo. Carlos a walk and a run scored in the 1st. He grounded to first in the 3rd, and he had a base hit to center field. And Bruce Bochy is going to go get a left-hander.
Just using one of those 37 players that he has, and all the pitching.
And this is September baseball.
Yes.
Because if this was August, you wouldn't see as much mixing and matching, but they got 4 lefties down there. They got 32 righties. I mean, whatever you need, they have. You got a couple guys down there who can throw both lefty and righty.
Use them all.
They almost did last night, 6-3.
It was a good skip. Boy, way swing, Nelly.
Come on, Josh, put the inning down. Kid. Let's go. Come on. Come on.
Josh Rutledge. He's in the dugout now, and Carlos Gonzalez is facing Jose Majares.
A repeat of last night. Carlos faced Majares, and Majares struck him out. 2/3 of an inning. And last night's affair for Jose.
Two and 0. One out in the 7th, and that pitch is in. 3-0. Rosario's on deck, then Pacheco. Probably see Bochy again if he doesn't get cargo.
Two right-handers in the pen for the Giants.
Casilla and Moda. Moda was outstanding yesterday.
Both guys used yesterday. Moda inning and a third. Casilla 1 inning.
Not only does Boch have a lot of arms, we were kidding about that, but he's got a day off tomorrow. And the walk to Gonzalez. And here comes Bruce.
This is going to be a double switch.
Tell you about it when we return. We know this much. It's 6-3, 1 out in the 7th, and Gonzalez is at first. Mario is 24th earlier in the ball game, and no doubter to left. Most of his home runs are no doubters. Of course, like Cold Hard Blast. Lincecum went 6 innings. He's on the plus side, having given up 3 runs on 6 hits. In left field is Justin Christian. Hill is Santiago Casilla, who does some closing and does some setup relief for Bruce Bochy in a year that first time he didn't have his ace right-handed 9th inning man Brian Wilson.
Yeah, but they're still first in the National League in saves with 48. It just tells you the work of Casilla and also Sergio Romo and whoever else that Bruce Bochy's put out there. They've held the fort down for Brian Wilson after he went down with Tommy John surgery.
Perfect night. 2 hits, 2 runs knocked in, and a walk. And Cargo takes off again, and he easily steals another base. His 18th. He went first pitch after a base hit in the 5th inning.
How many times do you see a relief pitcher, when he comes in, throw over to first base before he delivers a ball to the plate? You'd be hard pressed to remember when they did, and that's the second one tonight. The last stolen base for Carlos Gonzalez prior to tonight was August 13th.
Almost a month. It's 2-0 on Rosario. Drive, deep center field, going back, and at the wall, making the grab is Blanco. Rosario hit it 415 feet. He needed to hit it about 5 feet farther.
Just tells you the strength of Willeen. Ball up. Just didn't get it out onto the sweet spot, though. It just missed it by a fraction of an inch, and Gregor Blanco didn't miss it jumping up.
To third, and Arias did not make the tag, but completes it at first base. So the Rockies had a walk and a man left. We'll go to the 8th, 6-3 San Francisco. Daily with Jim Tracy every week. Look for the keyword during the show. Text it to 720-720. A chance to win some prizes. You'll hear from the skipper and plenty of other good things with Rockies Weekly with Jim Tracy this Sunday right after the game. Rockies in San Diego over the weekend. Then they'll play a 4-game set in San Francisco. Colvin in the 8th inning. Or excuse me, I'm looking ahead to next inning.
Well, Colvin will lead off next inning.
He will. First thing, the Rockies have to get the Giants out. Hector Sanchez leading things off. Josh Outman still in the ball game. Got Brandon Belt in the 7th. It's going to be Sanchez, Crawford, and Justin Christian.
Sanchez and Pablo Sandoval, just their stance at the plate mirror each other, both right-handed and left-handed.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't know, it'd be very difficult to tell the difference.
And Sandoval just getting a night off, a rest night for him, like Angel Pagan. Both have open stance. Right-handed, left-handed, averages are similar.
Kung Fu Panda's back there, enjoying the evening.
He always has a bat in his hand.
A base hit for Hector Sanchez.
Both hits Sanchez has had tonight have been on breaking pitches. The first time he got one from Jeff Francis, this time from Josh Outman. So you put that in the book, saying, well, if you're going to throw him a breaking pitch, bury it, because if you leave it in the zone, he'll hit it.
On Crawford. Two doubles tonight for Brandon. 2-run double back in the first inning. 5-run first against Jeff Francis for the Giants. It's been a day of catch-up ever since. 2 strikes on Crawford. Giants won 9-8 last night with 12 hits. They've eclipsed that mark tonight. They have 13. To first, Pacheco, and Outman couldn't find the bag. Crawford, I think, beat it anyhow.
Yeah, he did. And with Josh, when he falls off, he'll fall off towards third and has to spin and gather himself to go back over to first base. He got over there. It wasn't because he was late getting there. And Jordan made the feed like he wanted as a shortstop. Give me time to get rid of it before the runner's on me. But even if Josh's foot is on the bag right away. Brandon Crawford beats it.
Right-handed hitter Justin Christian coming up. Outman will check out after a conversation with Jim Tracy. Edgemere Escalona coming in. 6-3 Giants. One out, one on. Justin Christian getting ready for his first at bat. He'll face Edgemere Escalona. Tacos, fans, if you'd like to receive text message alerts when the Rockies score 7 in a game, text the keyword taco to 720-720. Feed your Rockies fever. Only at Taco Bell. Christian and then another left-handed bat, Gregor Blanco. Escalona in the ball game last night through 1 inning. He gave up a solo home run to Brandon Belt.
And with the right-hander coming in for Escalona and Christian, the right-hander, they go to their bench and go to Angel Pagan.
Yep, Pagan for Christian. And it's, you know, an easy move to make also if you're.
Yeah, you put Pagan in center field, you slide Blanco over to left.
You upgrade your defense that much more. And baseball, and in some circles, that's why September baseball is criticized, in that a lot of purists say you play the game one way with 25 men for 5 months, and then in the pennant race of September, everybody has an expanded roster, and you can mix and match all you want. You can burn a player, as Bruce Bochy just did with Christian, and not really worry about it because you don't have a limited bench. Pagan is gone. 2 outs.
And it's hard to argue with that. We were talking earlier in the broadcast about the rules in other sports and how they're always tweaking them and changing them, but baseball has been this way for a while. But why do it? To get some exposure and experience.
Yeah, the interesting part about it, if you acquire a player after September 1st, that player's not eligible for the postseason. But you can have a roster of 37 in the month of September, as the Giants do. And, you know, the Rockies are taking advantage of it. They don't have as many players right now in their dugout as the Giants. Not a criticism of what San Francisco is doing. Bruce Bochy's taking advantage of the rules, and so is Jim Tracy.
And a lot of clubs will do that. If they're in the race, they want pieces that can help them in a small way if they need it.
Ground ball, Nelson pops up, fires across. Good play. Yeah, I mean, you'll see a guy come up, you know, maybe from A ball and that all he does is pinch run. 6-3. More saving, more doing. Willeen Rosario off the bat thought he may have hit a 2-run home run. Gregor Blanco went back, had room, reached up, made the grab. Good looking play by Blanco. Now that ball gone out, the Rockies would now be trailing just 6-5. There's a line score on it. 6 runs, 13 hits for San Francisco, 3 in just 6 hits after producing 17 last night for the Rockies in that 9-8 loss. Gregor Blanco is now in left field. Angel Pagan is in center. And the new pitcher on the hill is the one-time Rocky, Jeremy Affeldt. And Affeldt will face Colvin. Nelson and Herrera are scheduled to follow.
A rough night for Jeremy Affeldt in last night's game. Gave up 2 hits to the only 2 batters that he faced. Charlie Blackmon and Dexter Fowler.
And this is a shrewd move by Bruce Bochy. There's no one warming up. This isn't a mix and match right now. And the reason he's throwing Affeldt out there, he's got Colvin, Nelson, and Herrera. The big bats on the Rockies bench, or the big bat left, is Giambi from the left side. And you basically negate that here in the inning with Affeldt out there, and then in the 9th inning, he's going to go to a guy who's been using the close, and the Rockies would be at the top of the order anyhow, and less likely to pinch hit.
Right, and those are all the factors that a manager will think about before he even says to his pitching coach, "Hey, get him up." I've looked at my roster. I've looked at the lineup. How is it going to match up? Bruce has a number of years in this game as a manager. And so situations have presented themselves time and time and time again for Bruce Bochy.
Here's the 0-2 to Colvin, outside and high, 1-2. Affeldt, a one-time starting pitcher in the Kansas City Royals organization. Bounce between starting and relieving and closing in Kansas City. Ground ball toward the hole. Scudero slides, and he won't have a play. It'll be an infield hit. Scudero couldn't get a grip on the baseball, so Colvin reaches, and that'll bring up Nelson.
as a second baseman, when you're going for a ball that's in the hole and you know you can't dive for it because you'll dive over the top of the baseball, you'll slide on your knee to help two things, to stop you and to then make the spin.
Get through, get through. And baby.
Nelson 1 for 2 and a walk outside on Chris. When Affeldt departed the game yesterday after giving up those 2 hits, he was having an argument with himself.
Not sure who won.
Me either.
But it was a heated argument.
Yeah, it was one-sided. $24,182 have braved a chilly night. The irony of the day is that it rained and rained and rained all morning, all afternoon. We haven't seen a drop of rain tonight, and last night a good portion of the game was played through raindrops. All the sweatshirts are out, though. Oh, the temperature at 52 degrees. Arizona leading the Dodgers in the 7th, 3-2.
The Dodgers had that 1-0 lead in the 6th.
Baltimore won again. They edged Tampa 3-2. And the Yankees beat Boston at Fenway 5-4. So that was a push. That's going to go to the backstop. Colvin moves to second. Renicki's now up in the Rockies pen. Wild pitch. Rockies have been retired in order just one time, which sounds kind of strange for a ball game in the 8th inning in which the Rockies have just 3 runs on 7 hits.
It was just back in the 4th inning.
Left 9 on. Nelson strikes out here, first out in the 8th inning. Let's see who comes up. It'll be Matt McBride pinch hitting for Herrera.
Matt can go in and play first base. It's move Rutledge over to shortstop. Slide Jordan over to third, Chris to second.
This ball in the air to right center field. Pence is going to make the catch.
Just 1 for 10 now with the Rockies and runners in scoring position.
Andrew Brown will pinch hit in the pitcher spot. Dave Rigetti wants to convey a message now to Jeremy Affeldt.
This is a scouting report message. 20, 40, and full season sweep packages are now available for the 2013 season. Call 303 Rockies for more information.
Strike one on Andrew Brown.
One for 8 as a pinch hitter for Brownie.
Rockies RBIs tonight. Willeen Rosario, an RBI single, a home run. And Blackman, a pinch double to drive in a run. 1-1 the count on Brown. Off the plate, 2-1. Well, the Phillies are now over 500. They won tonight 3-1. Jimmy Rollins hit another home run.
7 straight for the Phillies.
They are very much now the wild card pursuit.
3.5 back.
Bouncing ball to Crawford. Rockies done in the 8th inning. We move on to the 9th. The Giants have held a 6-3 lead for a while now. Online only at southwest.com. And by College Investor, you saving for college or just talking about it? Coors Field on a chilly night. The Rockies trailing the Giants 6-3. Let's go to center field. Check in with Joel Klatt. Joel?
Hey, Drew, what's happening, my man? Hey, Jeff Francis needed a little first aid tonight. That's right, the first inning didn't go so well. After those 5 runs, he settled down. Rockies have a chance now in the latter part of this ballgame. Plus, Goodwill Hunting. How about Willeen Rosario staying hot? He is, feeling it, as they say. We'll get to the clubhouse here from Jim Tracy. That's all coming out here at center field, Toyota postgame show.
Joel, thank you. Couple changes to tell you about. DJ LeMahieu is going to play shortstop in the 9th inning, and I believe that'll be the big league debut for DJ at shortstop, and Josh Renicky will handle the 9th inning.
Instead of moving all those guys around, they just put DJ at short, give him a chance to see how it's going out there. Josh Renicky coming in just for 1 innings now.
Yeah, let me correct something. There was a spot earlier this year where DJ did play shortstop for 1 inning, so this is the 2nd big league inning at short for DJ.
He takes ground balls there every single day. It's not foreign territory during batting practice and off the coaches when they're hitting their ground balls.
Scudero at the plate. He takes strike 1 from Renicky. Buster Posey, Hunter Pence will follow. 56 ball games at shortstop in DJ LeMahieu's minor league career.
All-around athlete at LSU.
going to be another base hit for Marco Scutaro. 3 tonight, and he's got 2 RBIs. Some Giant fans here in attendance yelling MVP at Marco. He has been
Well, it could go either
so valuable to the Giants since the trade from the Rockies.
You know, it could be for both of those guys, Marco Scutaro and Buster Posey, who's following him up at the plate. You could, if you're a Giants fan, you can't lose with either one.
Yeah, maybe I was ahead of the game. I think that had more to do with Buster coming up, but I keep looking at the numbers Scutaro's putting up in a Giant uniform. Average close to 340 now.
30 RBIs.
Posey will be in that MVP conversation. 2 for 4 tonight for Buster. Two and 0. That's foul.
Lucky fan, stuck it out. Get a foul ball. Sergio Romo in the bullpen for the Giants. Matt Reynolds, the left-hander for the Rockies.
Two and 2. Renicky working a Posey. Got him. Renicky strikes out Posey. 1 out in the 9th inning.
Second strikeout tonight for Posey. And both times it's been with the fastball. He was just beat by the Renicky heat.
Runner going, and once again the ball dropped by Rosario as he's attempting to throw. We had that happen on a pitch out. Now Scutaro running, gets a stolen base.
And guys, when you're coming up and through minor league ball and youth baseball, you'll hear people yell, quick hands. Well, you know what makes your hands quick is quick feet. So don't worry about the transfer as much. Let your feet do the work for you, and your hands will catch up. Because invariably, when you hear quick hands, you drop it.
Right center field. This will split the gap. Hunter Pence will drive in Scutaro, and Hunter Pence is on his way to third with another triple for the Giants, who lead the league in triples. 7-3.
Fourth triple this season, 30th of his career for Hunter Pence. This was in the same area that Gregor Blanco hit his triple in the first inning, to the right center field gap. San Francisco 6 for 14 with runners in scoring position. Scudero trots home after the stolen base.
Chopped foul by Joaquin Arias. Off the plate. Line drive center field. Pence tagging. Dexter's got it. And the throw is not going to arrive in time. Sac fly for Arias, second RBI of the night, 33rd on the season, and the Giants have a comfortable 5-run lead here in the ninth. Pitcher spot due up. Aubrey Huff will pinch hit for the third time in this series. Aubrey's 2 for 2 coming off the bench. Giants have that number, Huey, at Coors Field this year, and this is their 9th and final game they'll play at Coors Field this year. They've averaged better than 8 runs a game. I know it's Coors Field, but if you give up 8 an outing, you're going to lose most nights, and that's what the Rockies have done, and they're staring at their 7th loss in 9 ball games against San Francisco at 20th and Blake.
Yes, 76 total runs the Giants have scored in the 9 games. 76.
Yep, 2-strike count on Huff.
Looking to go 8-0-1 in their last 9 road trips.
Well, the last one they lost, this is in the air, Dexter, was in Pittsburgh before the All-Star break. 20-7, their last 27 ball games away from AT&T Park. 8-3 as we go to the bottom of the ninth. The Rockies and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Colorado Rockies.
With 2 more runs in the top half of the 9th inning, Sergio Romo sat down and they got Guillermo Mota up. Mota Pitched an inning in the third yesterday, and those
struck everybody out.
4 strikeouts.
Again, the last time the Giants lost a road series was in early July, right before the All-Star break. They lost 2 out of 3 in Pittsburgh. Since then, in 8 road series, they're 7-0-1. They split a road series. That's the one in the tie column, if you will. And they're about to go 8-0-1. They lost on Monday night. They won 9-8 last night, and they're up 8-3 here in the ninth. Fowler is 0 for 3 and a walk.
The Giants are just trying to do what their counterparts across the Bay are doing. The Oakland A's, they've won 11 straight out on the road, and they're leading 1-0 tonight again down in LA.
And Cespedes has hit another home run. Really remarkable, this run for the Oakland A's, the no-name Oakland A's.
18 rookies used. A lot of young pitchers. Just 3.5 back from Texas for the division lead.
There are the division races. Baltimore and New York both won tonight, so they're tied. Tampa lost, they're 3 back. Detroit a game behind the White Sox. And there's Oakland chasing Texas. Nobody had that.
No.
They had Texas and the Angels battling to the bitter end. It's going to be an infield hit for Dexter.
Chance Arias has, if he makes this play, is to barehand it. As it gets by the pitcher, Mota, Dexter hitting from the left side, he'll beat that out. Arias tried to go with the glove, didn't even make a play.
Rutledge 0 for 4, fouls it off. Strike 2 on Rutledge.
Shook off a fastball in and out, wants a slider away.
And he got him. Rutledge strikes out for the first out in the 9th inning. And Carlos Gonzalez will come up. Carr goes 1 for 2 and a pair of walks. And Bruce Bochy's going to walk out to the mound with a 5-run lead.
The lefty to match up with Carlos. Javi Lopez.
Javi Lopez, who got the final out of the ball game last night, earned a save. This is not a save situation.
Bruce Bochy bringing Lopez in with the 195 batting average against. Carlos in his career 3 for 15. One of those 3, a home run.
Dexter will run down to second. Scudero throws out Gonzalez, 2 outs.
And here comes Bruce Bochy again.
I honestly, and I have the greatest respect for Boch as a manager. I don't understand this. Why are you matching up one hitter for one hitter with 2 outs, up by 5 runs in the 9th inning? I don't get it. And again, I have great respect and admiration for Boch. He's been a heck of a manager. I don't understand this though. Single, a home run, a walk, and a fly ball to the wall in center. He'll face Sergio Romo with Dexter Fowler at third.
The 7th pitcher used tonight for the San Francisco Giants, and the only one to go an inning was Jeremy Affeldt.
7th out of the bullpen.
Out of the bullpen, yes, 8 total.
Pitcher used, and keep in mind, Lincecum went 6 innings, so they've used 7 to get 9 outs. Well, they've used 6 to get 8 outs so far. They used 8 pitchers in 9 innings last night. But last night, Bumgarner gave them only 4 1/3.
There must not be any appearance clauses in some of their contracts. If there is, they're going to get paid more.
Mr. Slider, Sergio Romo. It's a pitch he favors the majority of the time.
And he controls it, and he likes it, and it works for him. It's very effective.
Got his ode to Brian Wilson beard going. 2-strike count on Rosario. Romo strikes out Rosario, and that's the ball game. The Giants win it 8-3. They capture the series by winning last night and tonight. Lincecum gets the win. He's 9-14. Francis takes the loss. He's 5-5. The Dodgers lost again. The Giants now have a season-high 7-game lead in the National League West. They're 8-0-1 their last 9 road series. San Francisco improves to 81-62. The Rockies now 57-85. Tonight's Deliver the Game brought to you by Jimmy John's, America's favorite sandwich delivery guys. It's always good to see Marco Scudero, but the Rockies saw too much of him doing this, throwing line drives all over the ballpark. 3 more hits tonight, a couple of runs, a couple of RBIs, also a stolen base for Marco. Visit JimmyJohns.com to find a location near you. The Rockies with their 43rd loss at home, that ties the most in club history. Stick around, the Toyota postgame show's up next.